and welcome to Bend the Knee, a Song of Ice and Fire podcast. I am Sir Matt, the Bud Knight.
And I am Sir Ezra, the Watchful, and we got a fun one for you today. We're going to talk about Maelys the Monstrous, and we're going to talk about the War of the Nine Penny Kings.
Yeah, absolutely. So in our Facebook group, for those of you guys who follow us there, we ask you guys send us who do you guys want us to talk about, whether it's on the podcast or here on YouTube, and got one here from Sir William. He says, possible Maester's study, Maelys the Monstrous. I'm extremely intrigued as to who this man is. Where did he come from? Is he really a Blackfyre or just some form of bastard with Valyrian blood? I've been pondering about how the War of Nine Penny Kings even started, other than what we're told in A World of Ice and Fire. Why press the claim of a complete abomination like Maelys? So much speculation considering we have limited info on him. Also, why the hell does he have two heads? So let's answer some, if not all, of those questions right here, Sir Ezra. So Maelys the Monstrous, aka Maelys the Blackfyre, is the last of the Blackfyre pretenders, the last son of Daemon the First Blackfyre. So for some quick, just kind of reference here, the Blackfyres, Aegon the Fourth Targaryen sleeps with who knows how many people, has tons of children, many of them bastards who he at one point legitimizes, all of them, right? And one of them, probably the most famous, is obviously Daemon Blackfyre, right? So he has two sons, Daemon and Daemon being the legitimate one and Daemon being the illegitimate one. And there's even some theory and speculation about that. So you can kind of view that. So Daemon Blackfyre, though, however, is actually, it's a bastard with another Targaryen. So that's kind of interesting. So he then bestows the sword Blackfyre, the ancestral sword of House Targaryen, to Daemon, and half the realm pretty much goes with him. The other half goes with Darren because they say Daemon's the real leader. He's got the sword. Darren is more kind of bookish, not as much of a warrior, and so causes a big uproar, the Blackfyre Rebellion. So this is the War of the Nine Penny Kings. Jump ahead a little bit. Is the fifth and final of these Blackfyre rebellions. Although, to be honest, you can really almost call it the really only other Blackfyre rebellion. You look at the second Blackfyre rebellion, and it's not even really, it doesn't even get off the ground, right? I mean, right. You go to the third Dunk and Egg story, Sir Duncan the Tall and Bloodraven pretty much shut the thing down themselves. Yeah. So this one, though, is a War of Nine Penny Kings. And so what this is it's 258 AC is when the band of nine comes together. So the band of nine they're outlaws, pirates, most of them from Essos, a couple people who are exiled from Westeros, and they come together and they say, let's start, there's all this kind of disputed land and stuff like that. And so let's start taking power for ourselves, and we'll kind of come together as a collective, right? And so what ends up happening is it ultimately ends up going to the Stepstones, right, which is kind of an area of conflict, right? And then it's ultimately put down by Barristan Selmy, right? And there's a lot of other big players that play in it, but Barristan Selmy slays Maelys the Monstrous in combat, and that's what kind of gets him his seat of authority and gets him into the Kingsguard. So Maelys Blackfyre, though, so why is he important in this? So he is, as I said, the last of the Blackfyre pretenders. He's kind of an interesting guy. We already said he has two heads, right? He is he's really big, has monstrous arms. It says that he has the second head coming out of his neck, right? And it's the size of a child's fist. He is able to kill a horse with a single punch, and can tear a man's head clean off of his shoulders. So it's also said that he, was supposed to be a twin, and that he ate the other twin while he was in the womb, right? Making him a kinslayer, not really by choice. He grows up in Essos and ultimately ends up taking control of the Golden Company. So he is another part of this band of nine. So I think Sir Ezra, one of the reasons is that, the Golden Company have a big connection in Essos, and if you really want to start seizing power and start seizing control, and you think this is going to get bigger and bigger, you're going to want somebody that's going to have some sort of a claim to Westeros, because you can't. I just don't think any Tyrosh or anything could go over to Westeros, and at least then you'd have somebody able to say, okay, now we can have somebody unite against them. It's what we see with Daenerys in a ways too. Is Dany has a claim to the throne, so pretty similar there. So
Yeah, and Daemon Blackfyre marries a Tyroshi,
mhm.
and like we don't really know what happens between then and his descendants, and what really goes on there in Tyrosh, like whether someone was thrown out of power or whatnot. So it is interesting that they rally behind a Blackfyre, and the idea is, and it's the stepstones, kind of this in between pirate land territory, disputed lands, and then from there, we're going to move over to Westeros. I think if you had any ambition to go from Essos to the stepstones, then to Westeros, yeah, you would need to kind of get behind a Blackfyre, and then hopefully that rallies some people um, over in Westeros to once you land and you occupy some territory, you're hoping other houses will then rally to you, perhaps, if there's still some of those Blackfyre supporters. Although I just don't think there are as many, even though we had um, 4 rebellions before this. It with each rebellion it gets weaker and weaker, and there are less supports there too. So
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, I think that's the whole reason they got him. He's got the name. He's obviously a great warrior. He's got the Golden Company. But I mean, he is slayed by Barris and Selmy. So props to
yeah.
Barris and Selmy
Oh yeah.
for being a boss. I mean, Barris and Selmy has also beaten Duncan the Tall at this point too. So he's really, I mean, making a name for himself at
Yeah.
this point. And you look at the timeline too, right? I mean, 959 is when this war takes place under King Jaehaerys. The tragedy at Summerhall has just happened, right? I mean, it happens in the same year. So, hey, now's the time for us to, because they'd already put this band together, and now's the time for us to really push.
Yeah, it's opportune. I mean, it's sort of like, I mean, one could even say, like, did they have something? We just don't know really what happens at Summerhall, and was there some tragedy that was started by? I mean, was it sort of Egg's own doing, or were there other things at work? What was going on? And then, literally, just moments later, or a year later, you have this strike, you have this war, where these 9 merchants are getting together, rallying behind Maelys Blackfyre, and trying to take over, and hoping to take advantage of Jaehaerys, who has just newly become king. So yeah,
Yeah.
that's probably why. That's actually one of the reasons, probably why you would push into Westeros. Otherwise, there's not a whole lot of reason, especially if Egg is still there and Sir Dunk is the Lord Commander of the King's Guard, a great commander. I don't think you would do it. Um, but with new blood in there, you're trying to see if you can press your advantage.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. So, all right. Well, you guys, thanks for checking us out here. Hope we answered some of your questions there. Sir William, really appreciate it. So, if you guys want more of these kind of character studies, just general questions, you can hit us up on our Facebook group. Send us an email at btkcast@gmail.com, or leave us a comment right here on YouTube. Be sure to hit that subscribe button and like it if you liked it, guys. We appreciate it. So, we will see you next time. Thank you for watching, and remember that winter is coming.